Ladies and gentlemen, the Golden State Warriors have done it again. I'm Pee Wee the Plug. This is NBA Weekly. With last night's win over the Dallas Mavericks, the Golden State Warriors are headed to the finals for the sixth time in 8 years. What an incredible dynasty and run. I can't believe it's been 8 years already. Time needs to slow down just a little bit. Before we go into this Warrior appreciation video or whatever I'm about to have, I want to give credit to the Dallas Mavericks. Incredible season. They should not hang their heads at all, from the organization to the team, to the coaching staff, to the fan base. I know it's easier said than done to end your season on a loss without holding the championship trophy. I know it's so easy to say, but you still had a great year, and that's not what any team wants to hear. But we have to give credit where credit is due. Nobody expected this team to go on the run that they did go on. If anybody did expect it, it was a small amount of people. Jason Kidd had doubters with his hiring. People were scratching their head at the Kristaps Porzingis trade. I was one of them, just didn't see what was going on. And for them to have the second half that they did, to be able to get Luka out of the first round for the first time in his career, and then advance all the way to the Western Conference Finals, defeating the number one seed in 7 games, and that game 7 being a historic ass whooping, so to speak. Hats off to the Dallas Mavericks. Again, incredible year. Luka's the truth. Can't wait to see the future of this team and what they do with Jalen Brunson and how they decide to get better going into the future as Luka starts to cement his legacy over the next years or so. But the Golden State Warriors, right? This video is to talk about everything that they embody. This is good for basketball, in my opinion, because they play some of the best, if not the best, brand of basketball that we've seen, especially in my generation. Just from the selflessness, the unselfishness within the offense, the team communication, everything that they've been through. I got a number of things written down in front of me. The championship DNA. Let's start with championship DNA. This is something we talked about all playoffs. We've seen them come back from wins. We've seen them give up leads. We've seen them with man down, next man up. We've seen every type of adversity that a team can go through, and we've seen them fight through it all. And that's when we always reference the championship DNA, because they've been here, they've done it, and I think they embody that the most. Championship DNA. They just know how to get the job done when it seems like there's no way, when it seems like the game is over, when it seems like they're out for the count, and it's it for them. It's wraps. They find a way to fight back slowly and steady, and then boom, a big third quarter, and the entire game changes. And the next thing you know, the Golden State Warriors, who were just down 15, are now up 13 in the fourth quarter with 4 minutes to go, and you're at home with your jaw dropped to the ground. Like, how did this happen? The next thing is the experience, man. The experience that they have. Watching them in this series reminded me just of how important experience is. They've seen every type of defense that can be played against them. There's no defense that Steph, Dre, and Clay, the main ingredients of this offense or this system that they have, there's nothing that they haven't seen. From zoning, from boxing ones, from switching everything, from being aggressive with Curry. We're going to leave Draymond. This team, this system has seen legitimately every single thing. That's why it's important to really understand 6 NBA final trips in 8 years. And I know a lot of them kept running into the LeBron and Kyrie Cleveland team or whatever, and we understand Durant came and everything, and that changed things and whatnot. But this team has seen literally everything, even from a defensive standpoint. When you think about the way that they handled Luka in this situation, and how Luka was able to pick apart every other team that they played prior to the Golden State Warriors, and there was not enough adjustments that could be made. But when you watch the Golden State Warriors and the adjustments they made, it reminds you that, hey, this team has been here before. They've played against a similar type of thing with battles against Houston and James Harden, when it was, James Harden 5 out. He's LeBron James holding the man in the basketball, trying to attack Curry. Him and Kyrie taking turns trying to call out Curry or find a way to get him switched upon them. And then you see the adjustments that they make. You see them do a 3-2 zone. We saw boxing one. We saw full court pressure from Andrew Wiggins. We saw hard hedges. We saw Steph Curry on Reggie Bullock, and then they did the pick and pop hard hedge. Reggie Bullock is an increasingly great pick and pop shooter, so that didn't work. So now we make the adjustment of putting Dorian Finney-Smith, Curry on Dorian Finney-Smith, who's a great corner shooter. But now when you try to do the pick and roll and we hard hedge to show, Dorian Finney-Smith isn't lighting us up as much as Reggie Bullock. You saw Kevon Looney and the strides that he made on certain switches with Luka Doncic. I mean, it was just an incredible performance. And then you go to the culture. The culture of the Golden State Warriors to just be able to get the job done, be selfless, communicate, and be versatile. You know what I mean? A lot of guys plug and play. We saw different stretches where the bench came in and put pressure on teams better than the starting unit at times. How many times did we see Kevon Looney play in this game a lot of minutes? Then it was Draymond playing. We saw Benelitza in the last game where he came in and gave them big minutes. We saw Gary Payton II have a huge impact in the Grizzlies series and he gets hurt. Jordan Poole was a starter. Steph came off the bench. Whenever you have a player as high profiled and as all-time great as Steph Curry, and he's coming off the bench, the type of message that sends to the entire organization from a player standpoint is out of this world. If Steph Curry can come off the bench, you'll never hear another player having any type of problem with coming off the bench, because you literally have a guy who's going to have a statue in front of that arena 10 years from now coming off the bench. This is a unanimous MVP, and they just had him coming off the bench, just like, hey, okay, yeah, we're going to work you lightly. That's unheard of. We're not going to see a LeBron James come off the bench. We're not going to see Jason Tatum coming off the bench. We're not going to see Kevin Durant. Like, this is crazy, the type of culture that they have. And when you have a leader like that at the top sending that message to the bottom, how can Moses Moody ever feel too much prideful to come off the bench? How could Kuminga ever feel away? How could Wiggins ever feel away? How could Jordan Poole ever feel away? So I think the culture and everything that they represent, and I feel like I say culture because we talk about the Spurs culture. We talk about the Miami Heat culture. We even talk about like the Grizzlies, the grit and grind. The Warriors do not get enough credit for the type of culture that they've built, starting with Steph, then Steve Kerr, Bob Myers, Draymond. I just feel like they just have something special and unique that we haven't seen in a very long time. And the fact that they've been able to climb this mountaintop again to have another opportunity to win their fourth ring after everything that they've been through. The departure of Kevin Durant, how he left, the storylines around that team after he left, and how they probably wouldn't be back in the finals. Or Steph Curry is going to be exposed now, and the Klay Thompson injuries, and he won't come back being the same. And D'Angelo Russell for Andrew Wiggins, crazy trade. Wiggins is a disappointment bust. How are they going to come through all of that? Just speaks on the Golden State Warriors culture. Another thing that I have, adaptability. Back to that, to be a team that was on the top of the mountaintop dynasty. You're talking about one of the greatest offenses, if not the greatest offense of all time. For them to have that, and for it to end the way that it did, losing to Toronto, then losing Durant, then you lose Klay to injuries, 2 significant injuries that you lose him for 2 years in a row. You bring in D'Angelo Russell, who doesn't really fit. Then you have to trade him for Wiggins, who was like a question mark. And you go from having championship level teams every single year, trying to have a revolving door of high IQ veterans, Sean Livingston, David West, who else? Leandro Barbosa, Mo Spates, Andre Iguodala, just vet after vet after vet, Bogut, JaVale McGee. From going to that high experience IQ veteran players to then right after bringing in young talent and having to mesh it with Draymonds and Stephs of the world and try to win, play basketball, have this system, and then also compete. We went from all of those 32-plus-year-old guys coming in, knowing what their role, to now having Jordan Pooles, Juan Toscano Andersons, Kelly Oubre's, D'Angelo Russells, Moses Moody's, James Wiseman's, Jonathan Kuminga's, and now developing these guys in a 15-win culture and a snap of a finger back into a championship level team. How many years do we go in these in the offseason saying, man, they should trade the second overall pick, get a more established player? They have, 7 and 14? They should package those 2 picks with Wiseman and go get an established player. Go get that third level star. Whatever. No. No. They flipped the entire script. They adapted to the situation that they were in, and they now competed while developing high-level talent. And it makes the question now be presented, though they're in the finals, is this a legacy extender? Is this about to be the second leg of a legacy? 6 out of 8 is crazy. But do they have 2 more after this? Do they have 3 more after this? With the way that things are looking? And don't get me wrong, teams get better in every offseason. The West continues to get better. But boy, when I look around the West, it ain't too many for sure firepower teams that I just think can keep up with the Warriors. The question has to pose itself. My dad called me and asked me today, so it's been on my mind the entire day. And my quick first reaction was, no, this is the end of their legacy. But when you sit back and you think about it for a second, though everybody is getting better, the way that they play basketball, the talent that they have, and the way they're developing that talent, it's a question that deserves some thought. Even as a team, from an organizational standpoint, we talked about the adaptability, but as a team, you know what I mean? To go in and play against so many different teams. They've played big, they've played small, they've played fast, they've played, 3 guard lineups with Poole. They've played without Curry, without Clay, without Draymond. They adapt the way that they need to be. Team to team, the way that they played against the Dallas Mavericks will be different than the way they played against the Celtics. The way they played against the Mavericks would have been different than the way they played against the Suns. The Warriors know how to adapt. And development, which goes to the adaptability that I talked about, to be able to develop Jordan Poole into the player that he is today. There's 29 teams right now that is looking for a Jordan Poole. I'm a Knicks fan. We would do anything in the world to have a Jordan Poole right now. There's not a team. The Dallas Mavericks would love a Jordan Poole right now. Literally, for them to get him in the spot they got him in the draft, and for him to be now this highly sought after talent who's probably going to get a max extension, is ridiculous. Jonathan Kuminga, even the flashes from Moses Moody. Look at Kevon Looney. Kevon Looney probably goes to any other team and really doesn't play. He's a championship center with the Warriors. Andrew Wiggins was a write-off. He just played some of the best defense we've seen all playoffs against a top talent in his league. Luka is that guy. And last but not least, selflessness. Everybody's happy for each other. You listen to the speeches when they're celebrating. You got Steph, you got Dre and Steph talking about Clay. To see their brother go down with those injuries, is he going to be back the same? Him having the game taken away from him, incredible to hear. Then you hear Clay talking about Andrew Wiggins and how important and special it is to see him on this team and have success, and how happy he is to have him a part of the team, and not only be a part, but to see him having success after being written off. You hear Draymond talking and speaking up for Steph, because Steph is one of the best of this generation. His name gets brought up not as much as it should be, but we got to put respect on Steph's name. And that's what it's about. Steve Kerr always talks about his players. Never try to take any credit. You know what I mean? Draymond talked about Bob Myers. Man, I questioned him. And look, he shut me up. We here. This is a selfless organization. And those are all my points that I got written down in front of. They have championship DNA, experience from everything that they've been through with these. It's one thing to go 6 out of 8 times. But the experience that they gain from it and how they use it, oh my gosh! If I'm a GM right now and I'm putting together a team, I'm studying the Golden State Warriors. I'm literally going back and I'm hiring somebody to gather as much intel and detail and knowledge, whatever, from the beginning of this ride and this journey to now, and I'm trying to study it. I'm literally trying to figure out. We go from experience to the culture, to the adaptability, the development, the Golden State Warriors have done it again. It's incredible. Hopefully tonight, we get a good good game in the Eastern Conference, but I cannot wait to see who wins this series. I've said Celtics in 6, maybe Miami fights and it goes to 7. Who knows? But it's going to be an incredible NBA Finals because the Warriors have so much on the line, and whoever they play is going to have just as much on the line. We're talking about Jason Tatum legacy championship for him to be as young as he is, and for the Celtics to have come out of nowhere where they had the slow start. Miami, is Jimmy Butler the number 1 guy? Can he win you a championship? The post LeBron era, you know what I mean? Was the bubble thing real or fake? So both of the Eastern Conference teams have things on the line for them, and they are going to make the Warriors work for a championship trophy. But man, for the Warriors to be able to be in this position and have a chance to win a championship after everything that they've transpired over the last years, like again, Clay's injuries, Draymond's injuries, Steph injuries, the disrespect that has been thrown their way, Kevin Durant leaving, and it looks like they've had more success than Kevin Durant. And not a lot of people will guess that to happen. So hats off to the Golden State Warriors, to all the Golden State Warrior fans. Like I said in the beginning, the Dallas Mavericks have no reason on earth to hang their heads or feel disappointed because they had a hell of a season. But boy, Golden State Warriors, we got to give them the flowers. It's just enough can't be said. Top to bottom, I'm amazed. And I'm gonna be singing a lot of Warriors praise the rest of the off season, because it's time to really, like, when you really step away and just look at everything that they've done, and you really hit you 6 out of 8, how they were built, how they were designed, can't do anything but respect it. I am Pee Wee the Plug. This is NBA Weekly. I will see you guys when we find out who's going to be playing the Warriors in NBA Finals. I got a feeling it's going to be a very exciting Finals, especially if the Celtics win. That defense against Golden State's offense, Golden State's defense against that offense. Woo! Slugfest. I'm out. Peace.